The Last of Us is one of the most acclaimed video games of all time. It's among the most well-written and well-voice acted in gaming history. So a TV show with such an amazing blueprint shouldn't seem like such an impossible task to pull off. Unfortunately, most video game adaptations are mid at best. Can The Last of Us on HBO escape this seemingly unavoidable curse? I think it very well can, and there's a lot of good reasons why. From what we've seen so far, the show really respects the source material. The cinematography team snapped with these shots. If you put them side by side with the video game's most iconic shots, they look virtually identical. And we haven't even seen the giraffe scene yet. And when that comes on, that will be cinema. And they also had some very intentional music choice for the trailers. For the first trailer, they used this song.
The roses have faded, there's frost at my door.
Some fans will recognize this from the games because this is the same song Joel plays while he's driving in the car and he spots a fraud from a mile away. And also for this next trailer, they use a fairly popular song. And yep, that's right, Ellie does a cover of Take On Me in this scene from Seattle Day 1 on The Last of Us Part 2. Wow, so beautiful. So much better than the golfing scene. But it looks like it won't just be a carbon copy of the video games. We can potentially know more about Ellie's mother. We still have a lot of questions surrounding this character. We do see Ellie's mother give birth to Ellie, so does that mean Ellie was born immune? Or did she become immune after being exposed to something else? But does that also mean Ellie's mother is immune too? We can't be getting more answers in the show than the game currently provides us, which is very exciting. And we're also getting the Left Behind DLC interwoven in the story, so it looks like we'll be spending more time with Ellie's old lover Riley, and we could also be spending more time with Joel's daughter, Joel's real daughter, Sarah. But it'll probably be more heartbreaking, which I'm kinda not ready for.
Don't do this to me, babe. Don't do this to me, babe. Come on.
I think one of the advantages of adapting something like The Last of Us is that the story has been actually kind of done before already. I think us Last of Us fans can kind of agree that it's not the most original story. Critically acclaimed films like Children of Men and Logan can both be something the show can draw inspiration from, and of course we all know the post-apocalyptic zombie genre can be wildly successful. It's been proven time and time again, stories like The Last of Us, they can work and they can be bangers. And the cherry on top of all of this, I think they nailed the casting. I mean, we got the Mandalorian himself and one of the best characters on Game of Thrones, Prince Oberyn. We have Pedro Pascal playing Joel, and also one of the best characters on Game of Thrones, Lyanna Mormont, played by Bella Ramsey. She's gonna be Ellie. And one of the showrunners will be Craig Mazin, and he'll also be working with The Last of Us creator himself, Neil Druckmann. And yes, Neil Druckmann can be blamed for the divisive Last of Us Part 2, but I think part of the reason The Last of Us Part 2 didn't really work was because Neil Druckmann didn't have that dude to check him. He didn't have a partner. He didn't have that partner to keep the ship sailing steady. Pairing Neil Druckmann with an experienced showrunner, I think this show can bring back that original, almost lightning in a bottle brilliance of the first one. This show has some really talented people behind it, but I'm gonna have to contain my excitement for a little bit because I do have some concerns. But the main thing I am concerned about is how they will handle part 2. Now HBO is gonna most likely want to do a season 2, but The Last of Us Part 2 video game is controversial to say the least. Fans hated Abby. You spent a ridiculous amount of time playing her in part 2, and fans just did not like how part 2 transpired in general. Now personally, I think Abby does work if you do introduce her in this first season of the show, but not only her character, her father as well, because I think what pissed most people off about the second game is that the game just crosses a line where it's almost irredeemable, and it just spends the rest of the game trying to redeem itself, but it never really quite does that. If the creator of The Last of Us, Neil Druckmann, ultimately wants us to feel empathetic for all the characters, I think we're gonna have to spend a little more time and do a little bit of changes to these other characters. But most importantly, we're gonna have to build up Abby and her father. We're gonna have to do that this season. The show could right the wrongs of the games by just feeling a little more connected between the first and the second parts. but if anyone can pull it off, it's HBO. I think we all should have faith in the show. I mean, HBO certainly does. HBO has reportedly put around 8 figures per episode, so that's over $10 million per episode, allegedly. Now, this could be one of the most expensive productions in TV history, so with this reportedly huge budget, a stacked cast and crew, and an amazing blueprint to build off of, and other stories to draw inspiration from, it's looking like The Last of Us can be a great watch.